welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Phi and Golf. Now, like I said, the election commission for this particular commissioners anyway seems to have a lot of hard work in
during
their
the
hands.
first week of working.
Exactly. And mind you, like Kun Phi said, this is a newly appointed, exactly, and this is their first task, so quite challenging. Yesterday there has been a talk already that 35 of the parties has already been pretty much showing their or registered themselves to contest in this particular election. In the morning, however, there's only 9 of them actually made it to the venue to get inside the venue itself. Now, there has been a blocking, like I said, of the venue. A lot of press stuck in there and did not come out later yesterday. So it was quite challenging for a lot of people, especially for reporters who trying to cover this particular
There were reports that there will be employing helicopters.
Goodness me. All right. Well, the thing is, if you cannot get in via foot, that would be one of the way to do it. However, the Election Commission has said that yesterday there has been, I guess, rumors that there has been this particular person calling different parties headquarters and claim that there will be the drawing of the numbers at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. However, the Election Commission, Kun Puchong Nutrawong, one of the Election Commission staff, has said that that wasn't the case. That was a rumor. That was not any sort of that, because the drawing will have to be done in front of all the party leaders as well as all the press, and it would be done on Friday, December 27th. However, like he said, if that's not going to be the case, they might have to push it a little bit earlier due to the fact that there has been a blockade and a threat of the sort. Now, they said that at this point, the election commissions may not be able to continue with the registrations of the election candidates in the partyless system as scheduled, because obviously, like I said, a lot of people cannot get in this Thai-Japanese sport complex in the Dindang area due to the blockade. And they say that they set December the 26th for the drawing of the ballots. They say that the drawing, which will begin on Thursday at 9 a.m., is set for a total of 35 political parties altogether that has shown up on Monday. Of course, like I said, 9 of them made it to the venues. The other ended up have to file complaints and showing their interest to contest in this particular election at the Dindang police station. So at this point, there has been a talk of perhaps they have to see if they could actually push it a little bit, because this affect as well the election that would happen in the provinces nationwide. So they say that if they push the date and it's going to be further than February the 2nd, that means that it goes against the law that required that there would be election 60 days after the dissolve of the parliament. So at this point, they say that it's going to be quite a bit difficult, and all the election commissioners already said that they will be they will have a meeting on a daily basis at this point, and I think it might have even been by the hours by the look of the situation, because they say that they have to find a ways, and they did say that there is a way that they already have. It's almost like plan B, plan C, but they cannot talk about it at this time, which is understandable, because they're probably afraid that there might be, once again, a blockade from the anti-government protesters trying to prevent the election from happening.
Yes, of course. And one of the people that showed the opposition to the ongoing political process here is a woman in Phetchabun province.
Right.
There were reports yesterday during the acting prime minister's visit to the Khao Khaw, the area where they
Phetchabun, right?
admire the scenery of the Khao Khaw,
which is a mountainous area.
Yeah, right. The Khaw mountain there in the area. And a little bit before 2 p.m., a woman aged around 25 to 30 was riding a motorcycle and blew whistles at the acting prime minister. However, Kun Yingluck seems to be very brave
At ease,
there.
right? Yeah, she was
That
quite at ease.
She walked straight at her, maybe because she was surrounded by a lot of escort and a lot of people there. Yeah, as you can see here.
I think that was like maybe part of the reason why those two ladies got, kind of the tires got shot earlier on.
Oh,
because obviously
right.
they are anticipating something like this.
And this particular encounter has been very interesting here because Kun Yingluck started the conversation. She was the one who opened the conversation. She asked the woman on the motorcycle whether
She was like one of the residents there, right? I think the conversation goes.
she started with just want to know what does she want.
Right.
And the protesters, I believe she was one of the anti-government protesters.
Of course.
She asked the authorities and the acting prime minister whether they would arrest her.
Oh.
Kun Yingluck said, no arrest. Take your time, just do what you want, and do you want to shake hand?
Right. Yeah, I think
That was really nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. She was trying to, at one point, trying to console
She was really
the
nice.
ladies and touching a little bit. And I think there's a little bit of a commotion because this particular person somehow did not want the prime minister to touch her.
To touch her, yeah.
Right.
And she even asked the acting prime minister how long she would be staying in Phetchabun province. And the prime minister said that she had no idea. And then she asked when the prime minister will be back to Bangkok. Kun Yingluck already said that tomorrow, which is today. So
Yeah,
you can see here in the
see,
footage
Yeah,
that she was like
gesture.
scared.
Exactly. That she doesn't want to
touching.
be touched.
Well, this is what happened during the Prime Minister's visit. However, back in the capital, there was a talk about setting up of the Reforms Council because earlier the PDRC had proposed that there should be reform before the election, and the government has already taken up that suggestion. And it seems that there were various sides that already talked about the particular Reforms Council, including the 7 private sector organizations that had already suggests the government to issue an executive decree to allow a political reform council to be set up. But it looks like the government would be ready to form such body itself. Yesterday, Deputy Prime Minister Pongthep Thepkanchana said the executive decree in the current situation would be rather difficult here. He explained that the law would not be binding on the post-election government. The acting deputy prime minister even said that a working group was now studying the relevant laws and gathering opinions to determine whether the setting up of a reform council could be done by a transitional government. He added, however, that this matter would be not tabled for the weekly cabinet meeting today. And talking about that, this morning, Kun Yingluck Shinawat will be back to Bangkok to preside over the weekly cabinet meeting, and then she will fly back to Chiang Mai province. According to the government source, it is likely that the government's reform council will be similar to that one set up after the student-led uprising on October 14, 1973, when there was no elected House of Representatives. And there were a lot of proposals coming from various sides. One of them has been calling for the council to have 300 members, 200 chosen from representatives of different occupations, and 300 appointed from the academic side. And the council's term would be less than 2 years, and that one similar to the one proposed by the PDRC itself. Kun Warathep Ratanakon, Prime Minister's office minister, said he had never heard of an executive decree being issued by a caretaker government before, and there was fear of possible legal action if this was done. However, he said the government would heed the proposal to set up a reform council. Well, that's all the latest reaction from the government towards setting up a reform council. However, another group that has been voiced their concern is the Thailand Development Research Institute, or the TDRI, that has already proposed 6-point solution to bring the country out of the current political gridlock here. And Kun Chen will be giving you more details about that later on during the next break. But now we're taking a short break.
A very short break.